Ukraine is about to get the Hivemind AI from an American company. The question isn't whether AI-powered autonomous drones are coming to the battlefield. They're already there. The question is what happens when Ukraine, the most drone-intensive battlefield in human history, gets access to the most sophisticated autonomous drone software ever built. Well, buckle up, y'all. Hey friends, Wes here, Army and Air Force veteran, law grad, bad Russian speaker, quasi-journalist, and today we're going to talk about the moment drone warfare crossed a threshold that most people haven't processed yet. Let's start with Shield AI, because outside the defense tech world, most people haven't heard of them, and they absolutely should have. Shield AI is an American defense technology company whose entire mission is one sentence: build AI that can operate in GPS-denied, communications-denied, fully contested environments where traditional drones go deaf and blind. Their flagship product is called Hivemind. And before I explain what Hivemind does, I need you to understand the problem it's solving, because that problem is the entire reason drone warfare in Ukraine has been evolving so fast. Here's the fundamental tension that has been running through this war since day one. Ukraine figured out early that cheap FPV drones were devastating. They practically invented modern FPV drone warfare as we know it. A $500 FPV drone can achieve a comparable tactical effect to a $78,000 Javelin anti-tank missile. Ukraine is now producing 4.5 million drones a year. The math is staggering. The problem is that every one of those drones needs an operator, and operators are a finite resource. One drone, one person, staring at a screen, guiding it manually. So to field a million drones, you would need a million people. Russia figured this out too, and Russia's answer was jamming. Flood the electromagnetic spectrum with interference. Cut the signal between the drone and the operator. Turn Ukraine's $1 million drone program into a million pieces of falling debris. Well, that kind of worked, actually. Partially. Ukrainian drone operators had to adapt constantly, find workarounds, shift frequencies, develop mesh communications. The cat and mouse game between Ukrainian drones and Russian EW has been one of the defining technical contests of this war. Hivemind is Ukraine's answer to all of it. Here's what makes Hivemind fundamentally different from everything that came before it. Traditional autopilots followed pre-planned routes. You program the waypoints, the drone flies them. If something unexpected happens, like a jammer cuts the signal, a building appears where the map said there was open ground. A threat materializes that wasn't in the mission plan. The traditional autopilot either fails, returns to base, or crashes. Hivemind can change course, avoid no-fly zones, avoid or interact with obstacles, respond to unforeseen conditions, and carry out missions safely and effectively without any human involvement. And critically, it can do all of that without GPS and without constant communication with base. Now that last part is the one that should make Russian electronic warfare officers a little nervous. The technology that makes Hivemind resistant to GPS denial is the same technology that makes it resilient to jamming. A drone swarm composed of Hivemind-enabled drones is highly resistant to the jamming countermeasures that currently represent the primary defense against small UAS. Russia's most effective counter to Ukrainian drones just became significantly less effective. But Hivemind isn't just about individual drones surviving jamming. The name itself tells you the bigger story. The concept of Hivemind, or collective mind, is that groups of drones can interact with each other, distribute tasks among each other, and act as a single swarm without direct human control. One scout drone charts the path. Bomb-carrying drones decide among themselves which of them will strike and when. The human who launched the mission defined the objective. The swarm figures out the execution. That sounds like science fiction, but Ukraine has already been doing a version of this with its domestic swarmer system, which a Ukrainian officer said his unit used more than 100 times in the past year, often with 3 drones, but with tests going as high as 25. Hivemind is that concept, but orders of magnitude more sophisticated, tested on everything from reconnaissance drones to fighter aircraft. Now that last bit deserves a little bit of a pause. Hivemind Pilot has been tested on the modified X-62A Vista fighter jet. This is not a system designed for hobbyist quadcopters. This is the AI that American engineers trust with an F-16 airframe, now being integrated into Ukrainian drones. So let me walk you through the Hivemind stack because it's worth understanding what Ukraine is actually getting here. The platform has 4 components. The first is Hivemind Pilot, which directly controls the aircraft, the actual AI that acts as the pilot. It's already in use in the VBAT reconnaissance drone and the MQ-20 Avenger. The VBAT, by the way, isn't new to Ukraine. Shield AI says it's already operating in Ukraine today, providing intelligence collection, surveillance, reconnaissance, and target identification, and has already completed more than 130 missions. This is a combat-proven system getting a significant capability upgrade. Now, the second component is Edge OS, the operating environment for AI running directly on the drone's onboard hardware. This is what we call edge computing. This is the piece that enables Hivemind to function without a cloud connection, without phoning home, without depending on any infrastructure Russia can jam or degrade. The intelligence lives on the aircraft. The third is the commander, and this is where the human role shifts in a way that matters. Commander is described as mission management tools where a human acts not as a pilot, but as a commander who defines overall objectives. That's a profound doctrinal shift hiding inside of a product description. The human isn't controlling the drone anymore. The human is commanding a unit that happens to be made of drones. It's kind of like commander mode in Battlefield 2. Does anybody remember that? Or is that just me? The fourth is Forge, the development and training environment where new AI behaviors get built and tested. This is the piece that allows the system to keep learning, keep adapting, keep getting better as the threat environment evolves. Now, Hivemind is also being integrated into the Destinus Ruda miniature cruise missile and the Hornet air defense drone system being supplied to Ukraine, with testing of the combined package planned for 2026. The Ruda is a strike missile. The Hornet is an interceptor. Hivemind is going into both ends of the kill chain simultaneously. Ukraine isn't just getting smarter attack drones, it's getting smarter defensive drones too. And here's the bigger picture that the Shield AI announcement points toward, because this story is about more than one company's technology deal. In the fastest combat scenarios of 2026, a human cannot respond in the engagement window. A drone swarm approaching a military installation at speed presents threat timescales measured in seconds, not minutes. In those scenarios, an automated response isn't a philosophical preference, it's the only physically possible response. This is creating enormous pressure on the doctrine that has governed Western military AI since before Ukraine. And that is the principle that a human must be in the loop for lethal decisions. Now, that principle is being stress tested in real time by the physics of modern drone warfare. Now, Richard Drake, head of Anduril's European branch, described the kill chain in advanced autonomous systems as something that, quote, can all be done autonomously, end quote. But for now, there is a human in the loop making those final decisions. Government rules require it. Estonian defense officials put it plainly. We also insist that human control is maintained over decisions related to the use of lethal drone force. Now, most NATO countries say the same thing. Currently, US and allied policy requires a human to approve strikes. The question that nobody has cleanly answered yet is what happens when the threat is moving faster than human reaction time allows. If a swarm of drones is closing on a base at 200 kilometers per hour, the engagement window is seconds. A human authorization chain that takes 30 seconds isn't a human in the loop. It's a human arriving after the loop is already closed. So the implication of humans in command rather than humans in control is not trivial. It describes a model where human intent sets the mission objective and the system executes all the tactical decisions autonomously. That's the line everyone is dancing around, and Ukraine is where that line is being redrawn in real time with real consequences for Russia. Ukrainian developers are testing drones with onboard AI that can lock onto a designated target and autonomously fly the terminal attack leg when data links are jammed, effectively acting as semi-autonomous kamikaze systems. Once queued, these drones pursue and strike without continuous human control. Russian technical experts acknowledge that autonomous flying robots that determine their own targets are already used in combat. Both sides are already past the line that Western doctrine says shouldn't be crossed. Now, the international debate is trying to regulate a threshold that the battlefield crossed without waiting for permission. UN Special Rapporteur Maurice Tinball Binns has warned the international community is crossing a threshold which may be difficult if not impossible, to reverse later. He's not wrong, and the Shield AI Brave One partnership is one more step across it. So let me leave you with the strategic picture, because the story is ultimately about leverage. Ukraine has the most battle-tested drone operators on Earth. It has the most extensive real-world data on how autonomous systems perform under jamming, GPS denial, and contested airspace. It has a domestic defense industry iterating on drone designs weekly based on combat feedback, and now it has Hivemind, an AI autonomy system capable of operating in exactly the conditions Russian electronic warfare is designed to create. The Russian EW advantage, which has been one of the most consistent tactical headaches for Ukrainian drone operators throughout this war, just got significantly harder to sustain. A drone mesh network can send a sophisticated ISR drone, followed by a swarm of simpler kamikaze drones, to find and attack a target using visual navigation. You can send 10 drones, but because they can't fly themselves, you don't need a super skilled operator controlling every single one of these. That's the manpower equation flipping. One commander, many autonomous drones, one mission. Russia's electronic warfare budget can't jam a swarm that doesn't need a signal. Ukraine's defense ministry says AI tools are already processing tens of thousands of frontline video feeds every month to identify, geolocate, and prioritize targets. Turning raw sensor data into actionable battlefield intelligence is huge. Hivemind is the next layer of that stack, not replacing the human intelligence, but removing the human bottleneck from the execution phase. Here's my honest assessment. I'm a little bit torn on giving AI the kill decision, because who do you hold accountable when the AI commits a war crime? But in Ukraine's case, they're fighting for their very survival. And so I think autonomous killer drones are appropriate. The side that figures out autonomous swarm warfare at scale first doesn't just win the next engagement. It redefines what warfare costs in manpower, in training time, in operator exposure, and in the political willingness to sustain a fight. Ukraine is figuring it out faster than anyone. It's doing it under fire with real stakes against a real adversary, adapting in real time, and now it's doing it with Hivemind. Russia should find that deeply unsettling, not because the technology is perfect, because Ukraine is getting better at using it every single day, and Russia's best electronic counter just became less effective. That's the whole story. The drone war didn't peak in 2024. It's just getting started. That's it for today, my friends. Subscribe if you want to watch where this goes. I'm here to keep you covered. And as always, glory to Ukraine, glory to the heroes. Crimea is Ukraine.